Thousands of seniors are walking strong again. Learn their 5 secrets. You know, there's something powerful about watching someone in their 70s or 80s, moving with grace, shoulders back, eyes focused, steps steady. It's not about being fast or flashy. It's about presence, confidence, a quiet kind of strength that doesn't need to announce itself. And yet, behind that graceful walk is often a lifetime of stories, some with joy, others with pain, and more than a few close calls that taught lessons the hard way. Falling is one of those things most people don't think about until it happens. For older adults, it can feel like the world suddenly becomes a little more dangerous. A crack in the sidewalk isn't just a crack. A rug edge becomes a potential disaster. The simple act of walking, something we all take for granted, becomes a test. But here's the truth that doesn't get talked about enough. Falling isn't always just about age. It's often about habits, awareness, and tiny adjustments that no one teaches you unless you've lived it. That's where the wisdom of experience comes in. Older adults, especially those who have taken a tumble and stood back up, have something incredibly valuable to teach us. Not just about how to move safely, but about how to move intentionally. And that's what this is about. 5 simple walking tricks that are helping thousands of older adults stop falling, stay strong, and reclaim their independence. Not by doing something extreme, but by doing the small things right. These aren't medical hacks or trendy routines. They're real-life insights. Tricks passed along from one generation to the next. Sometimes quietly, sometimes learned after a scare. They come from grandfathers who still walk the hills every morning, from grandmothers who figured out how to feel secure again after a bad fall, from older neighbors who move with a quiet confidence that makes you stop and wonder, what's their secret? And here's the best part. You don't have to be elderly to learn from them. Whether you're 65 or 25, the principles behind safe, stable, confident walking are universal, but they've been tested by time, refined by necessity, and proven by people who have a lifetime of movement behind them. So let's walk into this together. Let's talk about those 5 simple tricks. They're more than just steps, they're stories, and they might just change how you move through the world. Number 1, the power of posture. Lessons from the elders who still walk tall. There's a reason why some people, even into their 80s or 90s, seem to carry themselves with such grace. They walk into a room and people notice, not because they're loud, but because there's something steady about them. Solid, upright, and more often than not, it comes down to posture. You've probably heard it all your life. Stand up straight, don't slouch, keep your head up. But those weren't just nagging phrases from parents or teachers. For many older adults, especially those who've taken a bad fall and had to fight their way back, posture is survival. It's the foundation of balance. It's the thing that, over time, determines whether you move with confidence or live in quiet fear of the next stumble. I want to tell you about a man named Walter. 82 years old, spends most mornings walking his neighborhood loop, a 2-mile route, uphill both ways, he jokes. Walter fell about 10 years ago, broke a rib. The doctor warned him next time could be worse. And it shook him. For months, he barely left the house. He shuffled when he walked. He started to rely more on his cane than his own body. Until one day, an old friend visited and said, "You're leaning on fear, not just that cane." That line stuck. Walter started paying attention to his posture. Shoulders rolled back, chin level. He shifted his center of gravity, pulled it upward, not down. He stopped looking at his feet all the time and started scanning his path ahead. He trained himself every morning to walk tall, just a little taller each day. And over time, he started to feel steady again, stronger, lighter on his feet. That cane, it became a backup, not a crutch. There's real science behind this too. As we age, it's common for the spine to curve forward, our shoulders cave in, our head juts out. It's subtle, but it throws off balance in a big way. It shifts weight away from our center, making falls more likely. But the good news, posture is one of the few things we can actually train at any age. And we don't need expensive gear or long workouts to do it. Here's a trick Walter swears by. Every time he walks through a doorway, he straightens up, shoulders back, core tight, head up. That simple doorway cue reminds him to reset his posture dozens of times a day. Another one he uses, he pretends he's balancing a book on his head. It might sound silly, but it works. The body follows the mind. Many older adults, especially those who've spent time on farms or in trades, grew up using their whole body for work. They developed what you might call functional posture. It wasn't about how you looked. It was about how well you could move. That kind of posture doesn't come from sitting in a chair all day. It comes from engaging with life. And it can be revived. There's also an emotional side to all of this. When people walk upright, they feel more capable, more alert, less vulnerable. Confidence in your walk starts to carry over into confidence in everything else. It's not about perfection. It's about intention. Walking tall reminds you that you're still here, still moving forward. So next time you take a step, try it. Roll your shoulders back, engage your core, level your chin, look ahead, not down. Feel the strength of your own body again. It's still there waiting for you to stand tall and own it. And if you ever doubt how far good posture can take you, just remember Walter, 82, still walking 2 miles every day, still walking tall. Number 2, the ground game. How foot awareness changes everything. Most people don't think twice about how their feet meet the ground. Step after step, we go through the motions, but talk to older adults who've mastered the art of walking safely, and you'll hear something different. They talk about feeling the ground, reading it, listening with their feet. It might sound poetic, but for them, it's practical, and it's powerful. Let me tell you about Dolores. She's 78, soft-spoken, sharp as a tack. Lives in a small town where the sidewalks are cracked from old tree roots and winters that never end. A few years back, Dolores tripped on one of those raised slabs and landed hard, broke her wrist, bruised her ribs, and lost something even more precious, her confidence. For months, she barely stepped outside without clutching someone's arm. Her world shrank to her porch and her living room. Then one day, her physical therapist asked her a strange question. When's the last time you walked barefoot? She couldn't remember, so they started small on a yoga mat, just a few minutes a day. Slowly, Dolores began to reconnect with her feet. She learned to notice pressure, alignment, even the way her toes gripped the surface. And just like that, something clicked. She wasn't just walking anymore. She was interacting with the ground. Here's what a lot of people don't realize. Our feet are packed with nerve endings. They're designed to give constant feedback to the brain. But we numb them. Shoes that are too thick, too tight, or just plain worn out can block that information. And when the brain isn't getting accurate signals from your feet, your balance takes the hit. Older adults who've taken the time to wake up their feet often describe it as a kind of awakening for the whole body. They become more stable, more aware. They know when a surface is uneven. They sense when something feels off. And that awareness, it stops falls before they start. Dolores learned something else too. She needed better shoes. Not more expensive, just smarter. She swapped out her fashionable flats for a pair of low-profile walking shoes with wide toe boxes and good grip. Not clunky, not orthopedic, just functional. She calls them her conversation with the ground shoes. There's a simple trick she uses now. Every time she walks, the heel-toe whisper. She places her heel down softly, rolls through the arch, and finishes with her toes. She does it quietly, like she's sneaking up on the world. That smooth motion keeps her grounded, controlled, aware. It's almost meditative. A lot of older folks grew up walking on dirt roads, gravel paths, fields, and uneven terrain. Their bodies learned how to adjust, their feet adapted to variety. And now, even decades later, that memory can still be reactivated. Even something as simple as walking on grass in the backyard or standing on a towel barefoot in the house can reignite that natural connection. And if you think this is only for the elderly, think again. Athletes use the same awareness training. Dancers do too. What they know, and what people like Dolores have rediscovered, is that strength starts at the ground. Stability isn't about muscle alone. It's about message. It's about making sure the brain and the body are speaking the same language, one step at a time. So here's the takeaway. Your feet aren't just for walking. They're sensors, anchors, messengers. And the more attention you give them, the more they give back. Dolores walks every morning now, rain or shine. She walks slower, yes, but every step is sure. Every step is hers. Number 3, slow is strong. Why speed is the enemy of stability. There's a story I'll never forget about a man named Eli. He's 74, used to work in construction, built homes from the ground up with his bare hands. Even now, his hands look like they could bend steel. But after he retired, Eli started moving faster than he needed to. He'd dash across the kitchen, race to the door when the phone rang, move with the same urgency he had on job sites. One morning he was heading out to grab the mail, slippers on, coffee in hand, mind on a dozen things, and his foot hit a patch of dew-covered concrete. Down he went. It was a hard fall. He broke his hip. Surgery, rehab, months of learning to walk again. But something changed in Eli during that time. Not just physically, mentally. He slowed down, not because he had to, but because he learned that slow wasn't weak. Slow was smart. Slow was controlled. Slow was strong. So many of us associate quickness with youth, with energy, with competence. But when it comes to walking, especially as we age, speed becomes a silent enemy. It robs us of awareness. It pulls our attention away from the present moment, and it shortens the time our brain has to process where our feet are, what's under them, and what's ahead. Older adults who walk with confidence often share one thing in common. They've adopted a kind of rhythm, not a rush, not a shuffle, a steady, deliberate cadence that keeps them rooted in the moment. Their steps may be smaller, but they're precise. Their movement is quiet, but intentional. It's not about how many steps you take. It's about how much awareness you pour into each one. There's something beautiful about that kind of walking. It almost feels like a ceremony, a practice. And in some cultures, it actually is. In Japan, older people walk with quiet grace, often pausing between steps. In parts of India and China, elderly individuals pair walking with breathwork, inhale with the step, exhale with the next. It becomes a meditative flow that keeps the body stable and the mind clear. You might have heard the phrase, walk like you're carrying a bowl of soup. That's the idea. Protect the balance. Respect emotion. When you slow your pace, you give your muscles time to adjust. You give your feet time to respond to the terrain. You give your mind time to be present. Eli started using what he calls the 4-second stride. Each step forward takes about 4 seconds from lift to landing. It's exaggerated at first, but then it becomes natural. And in those 4 seconds, he checks in. How's my balance? Am I upright? Is the path clear? It's not overthinking, it's over-preparing. And it worked. He also started syncing his breathing with his walk. Inhale for 3 steps. Exhale for 3 steps. That small shift brought not only more stability, but calm. Anxiety about falling can cause more falls. But moving mindfully, it replaces fear with focus. There's also less physical strain when you move slowly. Your joints absorb less impact. Your core has more time to activate, and your eyes and ears have more time to sense danger. It's like giving your whole body a head start every time you move. And don't get it twisted. This isn't about being slow because you're weak. It's about choosing to move at a pace that's safe, powerful, and fully in your control. Fast movements might feel efficient, but controlled movements win in the long run, especially when the goal is staying upright, safe, and independent. Eli walks every day now. Slow, strong, intentional. And he says it with a smirk. I walk like I mean it. That's it right there. Not just movement, meaningful movement. Every step a decision, every stride a statement. Because when it comes to walking well, slow isn't the problem, it's the solution. Number 4, the balance blueprint. Using nature and objects to stay upright. You've probably seen it before. An older person walking down the street, gently trailing their hand along a fence, a railing, or even the wall of a building. To some it might look like a sign of weakness, like they need support, but to those who know better, it's actually something else entirely. Wisdom. It's the kind of knowledge that comes from experience, from falling once and never wanting to fall again. It's what I like to call the balance blueprint, using the world around you not as a crutch, but as a partner. Let me introduce you to Grace. She's 85, lives alone, still does her own shopping, still cooks every meal. She doesn't move quickly, but there's a steadiness in her every motion that makes people stop and watch. Her secret: she created her own walking path inside her home. No joke, every few feet in her house, there's something she can hold on to. A bookshelf, a sturdy chair, a countertop. It's not cluttered, it's intentional. She says, my home walks with me. And it does. Grace learned that the key to her balance wasn't just internal, it was environmental. She took what was already around her and made it part of her movement. And she's not alone. Across the world, older adults use walking sticks, canes, or staffs, not because they can't walk without them, but because those tools enhance their balance, add rhythm to their stride, and increase confidence. There's an old saying among hikers and mountain walkers: 3 points of contact. It means at any given moment, your body should be touching 3 things: 2 feet on the ground, and 1 hand on something solid. That principle applies to everyday walking too, whether it's a hand on the stair rail or lightly brushing a hedge as you walk. Those extra contact points provide immediate stability. What's even more interesting is how this kind of walking creates mind-body awareness. When your hand is on a surface, your brain gets additional feedback. It knows your body's position more clearly. That means quicker reactions if you trip or lose your footing. It's a trick the bodybuilders and gymnasts know well, and older adults, whether they realize it or not, have been using it forever. And let's not forget nature's role in this. Walking on uneven terrain, grass, sand, even small hills, can improve balance over time. Why? Because it activates the small stabilizer muscles that flat surfaces ignore. Some older folks take to walking in parks barefoot, just to retrain their feet and ankles. It's not just nostalgic, it's neuroscience. Nature demands that your body pay attention, and in doing so, it trains your balance system without you even realizing it. There's also the matter of gaze, where you look as you walk. One of the most underestimated balance tools is your vision. Older adults who've fallen often start to look straight down, watching their feet constantly. But that can throw off balance by shifting the head and spine forward. Instead, people like Grace keep their eyes scanning about 6 to 8 feet ahead. That distance gives the brain time to anticipate and the body time to react. Grace also uses small household objects as training tools. She keeps a tennis ball in her living room and gently taps it between her feet as a balance warm-up. She practices standing on one foot while brushing her teeth. These aren't big, flashy exercises. They're tiny repetitions of stability, daily training that keeps her body alert and in tune. And she does all this not because she's afraid of falling, but because she respects what a fall can do. She's seen friends lose their independence after one wrong step. She's seen the fear take root, and she's made a choice to stay proactive, to stay moving, and to keep partnering with her environment in smart, subtle ways. So maybe next time you see someone walking with a cane or placing a steadying hand along a wall, you'll think of it differently, not as a sign of weakness, but of wisdom, not hesitation, but harmony with the world around them. Because the truth is, balance isn't about doing it all on your own. It's about knowing what to lean on and when to lean in. Number 5, the mental map. How confidence and focus prevent falls. There's a kind of fall that doesn't start with a slippery floor or a loose rug. It starts in the mind, quietly, invisibly. It begins with hesitation, with second guessing, with that voice that whispers, "What if I fall?" And before the foot even leaves the ground, the body is already bracing, already stiff, already afraid. The mind stumbles first, and the body follows. This is why confidence and mental clarity are the final and maybe the most important parts of the walking equation. And no one taught me this better than Bernard. Bernard is 79 and used to be a marathon runner. But after his first serious fall in his 70s, nothing dramatic, just a slip in a grocery store, something changed. He didn't break any bones, but he broke something else. Trust in his own body. He started walking like he was made of glass. Every step was tight, guarded. He wasn't walking, he was waiting to fall. And he did fall again. Not because his body failed, but because his mind wouldn't let it lead. Then one day, his granddaughter came over with her therapy dog. They took the dog for a walk together. At first, Bernard was nervous, but then, without realizing it, he matched the dog's rhythm. The leash kept him steady. The motion distracted him from his fear. And something shifted. He started walking again, not like a man trying not to fall, but like someone trying to enjoy the moment. Bernard began doing short walks daily, even without the dog. He created what he called mental maps. Before stepping out, he'd visualize his path, where he'd pause, what he'd avoid, where the sun would hit the pavement. He didn't just walk, he prepared to walk, and that preparation built trust. One safe walk became 2, then 10, then a habit. There's something powerful that happens when we visualize movement. Athletes do it, dancers do it, and older adults can do it too. The brain actually rehearses the motion, lights up the same neural pathways. So when you finally take that step, it's not a guess, it's a confirmation. Fear is natural after a fall. It's protective. But left unchecked, it turns into hyper-awareness, which actually makes balance worse. The muscles tighten, the gait shortens, the steps become jerky, but confidence relaxes the body, smooths the stride, improves reaction time, and most importantly, it gives back the joy of movement. Another trick Bernard uses now is what he calls the fall-free mantra. As he walks, he repeats silently, "Strong feet, steady ground." Sometimes he'll say, "I know this path," or "I'm in control." It might sound small, but those affirmations create a feedback loop between the brain and the body. They shift attention away from fear and back to presence. He also joined a community walking group. Not a fitness club, just a few neighbors who enjoy morning strolls. That social connection gave him even more stability, not physical but emotional. There's something about walking with others that lifts the mental weight off your shoulders. You laugh more, You move without overthinking. You remember you're not alone in this. And it turns out, the mind doesn't just affect how we walk. It can affect whether we walk. Older adults who fear falling are more likely to stay home, sit more, and lose strength. It becomes a cycle, but confidence breaks that cycle. It creates movement. Movement creates strength, and strength builds more confidence. This is why the mental map is the final walking trick. It's the quiet one, the invisible one. But it underlies everything else. You can have great posture, strong feet, perfect shoes, and good pace. But if your mind is locked in fear, your body won't follow freely. So take a moment before your next walk, close your eyes, picture the path, say the words that steady you. Trust your body again, because the mind doesn't just lead the body, it frees it. Bernard walks every morning now, sometimes humming as he goes. He says he doesn't worry about falling anymore. Not because it can't happen, but because he's not walking from fear. He's walking with focus, with clarity, with peace. And that's the kind of walk that carries you forward, not just through the world, but through life. Conclusion: walking with wisdom, more than just steps. So here we are, full circle. We've talked about posture, the foundation that holds us upright. We've learned how foot awareness can reconnect us to the earth beneath us. We've discovered how slowing down isn't a weakness, it's a strength. We've explored the balance blueprint, how the world around us can actually become part of our stability. And we've seen how the mind, quiet, powerful, sometimes fearful, can be the greatest ally in walking safely, confidently, and fully alive. But let me take you back for a moment to the people you met along the way. Walter, standing tall at 82 with shoulders back and eyes ahead. Dolores, barefoot on a yoga mat, reawakening the connection between her feet and her mind. Eli, walking slow and steady with a 4-second stride, proving that deliberate movement is its own kind of power. Grace, who turned her home into a walking path of intention, creating safety not from fear, but from foresight. And Bernard, who rebuilt his confidence not with exercises, but with mantras, mental maps, and the courage to try again. These people aren't outliers. They're not special in a way that you or your loved ones can't be. They're simply examples of what happens when wisdom is paired with action, when we choose to listen to the quiet lessons experience teaches us. Not just about walking, but about living. And maybe that's the real takeaway here. These 5 walking tricks, they're not really tricks at all. They're reminders, gentle nudges to pay attention, to slow down, to walk with purpose, to know your body and trust it again. They're wisdom passed down in motion, each step echoing something deeper. Because falling doesn't just threaten our bones, it threatens our independence. It threatens our confidence. But it can also wake us up. It can remind us that how we move through the world matters. That every step we take can be intentional, grounded, and meaningful. So whether you're someone in your 70s looking to reclaim your balance, or someone in your 40s thinking ahead, or even younger, wondering what your path might look like as the years roll on, this is your invitation. Walk like you mean it. Walk with awareness. Walk with grace. With rhythm. With clarity. Walk with wisdom. And don't keep this to yourself. Share it. Share it with your parents, your neighbors, your grandparents, your friends. Because when one person learns to walk stronger, safer, and more confidently, the ripple rich can change families, communities, even generations. This isn't just about avoiding falls. It's about rising into the next season of life, with confidence, with strength, with purpose. And if you ever forget, just remember Walter, Dolores, Eli, Grace, and Bernard. Ordinary people, extraordinary wisdom, one step at a time.